He's a sweetheart.
Because I mean, there's lots of.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to call the meeting to order at 6:01, July 18th, 2023. We're going to do a roll call.
Counselor Vanderberg, here. Counselor Dufflock,
Please excuse.
Counselor Katie McMillan, here. Counselor Wheeler, here. Counselor Dennis McMillan,
Here.
Counselor Tenney,
Here.
Mayor Sykes.
Here. Please rise for the national or the pledge of allegiance. To the national anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we do the national anthem, you have to sing.
We need to make one quick addition to the agenda. We can probably put that under section 7. Does that work? Today we're beginning with
Section 9.
section 9. Okay, we'll add it to section 9. Discussion on moving the meeting on August 1st to 7:30. I will do a discussion. We had that to the agenda. Get a motion to approve the agenda with that addition.
Just for clarification, that's 9.5.
Correct.
Correct.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda then.
Thank you. Can I get a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Yeah, Adam, thank you for approving the agenda. Moving on to the city manager's report. Dave, you have the floor.
All right, we'll start with Chief and Police Department semi-annual report.
So I'm back to my old ways. You have it there. Last time I was on up there. Got misquoted, so I'm not gonna do that again. So, if there's any questions.
We have recording, so you don't get this right.
I didn't want to talk more.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. It's a lovely place.
I would just like to say thank you for a very thorough report. There was lots of information there. Lots of changes.
Any other questions or comments at this time for?
Yeah, same comment. I enjoyed being able to read through the different code enforcement, the updates to the team, and it was just really good to see all this broken down. And also see the faces. I like the pictures.
Yeah, I like that too.
Great job, team. Thank you.
All right, Greg. Next one here is the city manager report and the administrative department, which is our two-person department report. This is more of overall highlight of happenings in the city. It doesn't necessarily drill down to the department level because each department provides you both the annual and semi-annual report, although it does highlight on some of those. So I first just wanted to highlight that the city of Umatilla is represented quite well, not only in the region here on some of the activities that we have, but also at the state level and through the legislature there. We work actively. We're part of the lobbying team, both with our hired lobby group with PacWest Lobby Group, as well as the city of Umatilla in partnership with the city of Hermiston. We actively participate with the League of Oregon Cities as part of their lobbying group and their efforts. And they send us their legislative, not just us, but they send the whole group, but we're part of a cohort that works collectively on creating those legislative priorities and updates as part of an internal group for that. So we did that. We provided testimony on House Bill 5019, which is on homelessness housing, homelessness funding. House Bill 3201, federal funding for broadband services, 2095, extension of fixed and photo radar authority to all cities. House Bill 2101, House Bill 2010, House Bill 2019. So a lot of different, a lot of activity this legislative session. And we had individual meetings with Representative Bentz and Senators Merkel and Wyden, as well as Senator Hansel and Representative Smith at the state level. Our department participates. I presented at the Oregon Brownfields and Infrastructure Summit on the old Coffee Cup Cafe, talking about the work we've done there, both in our phase 1 and upcoming phase 2 project, and had great conversations with several of the other cities throughout the state that are working on brownfield or polluted parcels that are in public ownership, with the ultimate goal of getting those back into either private ownership or to a higher and better use in public ownership. So it was nice to be able to participate in that and make that presentation. City Recorder Sandoval is now the first vice president of the Oregon Association of Municipal Recorders, attended their mid-year conference, and she is, what that means is next year you'll be the president, 2 years. September will be the president of the Municipal Recorders.
Can I say congratulations?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
We also represented Eastern Oregon as part of the collaboration of cities charged with stewardship of the Columbia River and its tributaries. That was reported on that conference I attended earlier in the year at the Northwest Managers Conference. There was an article on that in the Oregon City and County Managers Association newsletter, and the work that we did through that partnership as well. So we're in the region, we're in the state, we're even in the Pacific Northwest, and we're actively meeting with our representatives to be. So some general highlights for some engagement with community, where we've reached out, we've done a lot of work to expand, try to create more opportunities to engage with our residents here. So part of that was one of your goals is to encourage the community to become committee members, task force members, and to join advisory committees. In the last 6 months, we solicited new members. And I know I left this blank here, but I had to have the numbers. We received, I think it was 14 applications, and we filled, was it 8 positions? Is that what it was? 9, sorry. 14 applications and 9 positions on those appointments. We created new TikTok accounts, Instagram accounts, Facebook accounts, Twitter accounts. We were talking about that a little earlier, so I've never felt older in my life. And our new Parks and Rec department as well created similar websites and social media accounts for our Rock Block Music Festival. All of our postings on our social media accounts are both in English and Spanish, and we've created also informational and promotional videos for landing days, rec programs, library programs, and Rock Block. So if you go on any of our social media stuff, our library does an excellent, just absolutely excellent job of about every single month we have staff posting videos on the site about what's going on with the library, the upcoming programs that they have going on as well. On our Rock Blocks city webpage, it's just more of an informational landing, more for residents of the city. It's definitely a different landing than the actual Rock Blocks webpage, which is more for like festival goers, people trying to get, how do I get there? How do I get tickets? That's different than the community member site. So we have a lot of that there as well. We also participate in a radio show. We've created our new projects based website. And then we've traveled. I've met with, in the last 6 months, I've participated in boards with the Unitarian Museum, Veterans Alliance, the VA, Kiwanis, Rotary, Chamber of Commerce, Hospital District, School Board, County Commission, Court Commission, and a couple others as well. So and those are just where we've been and made presentations, answered questions to, or provided additional information to each of those boards over the last 6 months. And of course, we have our quarterly newsletter continues to go out and be published each quarter, which is just a high level highlight of some of the activities we have going on. I won't get too deep into the upcoming capital projects, but other than to continue to encourage you to go to our website, our capital projects page is on our home landing page. There's a link there that says capital projects. You click on the link, and it'll take you to our highlighted projects, which I think right now is 26 projects. Of course, we have more than that in our budget. Those are our largest projects that we have right now. You click on that link and it goes through budget scope and timeline. It shows you the work that we've done already, where we are today, and what work what needs to be done moving forward. So if you click on any of those projects, that's not necessarily the best example. The business center was a little bit better. We'll get this one updated here. As I met with the department directors 2 weeks ago at our management team meeting, and so this will be getting updated again. We're in the middle of updates. So this gives you all the links and photos of the business center that highlighted where we're at in the project, gives you your budget scope timeline, where our funding is coming from, et cetera.
I also want to point out, because Dave always misses this, all of our stuff is easily translated into any language that you choose. So we can translate it to French and it'll automatically do it for you. All our websites. Everyone.
And then our programs continue to grow, particularly in our Parks and Rec department. We have just wanted to highlight some upcoming programs for the summer, in case you didn't get a copy of our rec guide. We have junior golf camp is actually going on right now. Kicked off this week, and we have our Saturday market series that started as well. That's always the second Saturday of each month, except the month of August, because that's Fair Week, so it's going to be the first Saturday in August. And then we have sports tournaments. Waterpalooza's coming up, National Night Out. We'll talk about a little bit later tonight on the agenda. Movies in the park, game nights, introduction to kayaking, stand-up and paddleboard classes. We have a lot going on. And then, of course, our bingo event kind of picked up during COVID online. It was something that we could do there, and then we brought it back into in-person, and that's only continuing to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Part of it has to do with just our community partners are so generous. I mean, Walmart's like donated like a 55-inch screen TV to the winner of bingo. I mean, it's like you come in for like $1 entry, you can walk away with a $500 or more TV. It's unbelievable. So we get a lot of great prizes. Highly encourage people to come out and participate in that. And then we have this great programs kind of for all walks of life and whatever you might be interested in. We have right now coming up, we have theater shows, DIY mood boards, kids yoga, anime, your way, recipes, wine and art nights, chalk tutorials, Dungeons and Dragons Club, Space Day. We had a dinosaur day here recently with Omni was out. So just a lot of different variety of programs that are available. We recognize there's not just one flavor for everybody, so we sort of give you the Neapolitan tonight to try instead. We continue to be highly successful in receiving grants. You heard at your last meeting, we announced that we've been given a notification of intent to award from the Oregon State Marine Board for a Nugent Park boat ramp and parking lot improvements, as well as the initial grant that's kicking off a replacement of a new marina out at the Marina and RV Park, which right now is the cultural resource and environmental resource studies that are required for that. We continue to use the funds that we've been very blessed with to leverage other funding, and which is why we have a $120 million adopted budget this year, because more than half of those funds are federal or state or other grant funding for this budget. So we've done a very good job with a lot of that. And then, in case you didn't know, our project path continues to move forward. The site has been cleared and grubbed, and we've now cleared every hurdle as far as getting through SHPO, State Historic Preservation Office requirements, and now we've got the green light from DEQ and County Environmental Health. So the property has a green light for development. So now we've commissioned JV to go ahead and finish their work on designing the septic and well systems. The well and water system is unique because it has to meet fire suppression requirements as it being a commercial regulated facility on a well. And so we had to meet with state fire marshal and go through that process to get special approvals through the fire marshal's office. We have that approval. We have what our specifications need to be. We found an off-the-shelf fire suppression system that can be installed into the sleep center facility, and so we're moving forward with all that. So what's been taking a very, very long time to get to where we are today will now move quite rapidly over the next 75 days on the development of that site. So if you are looking for something to do, I would encourage you starting next week to start driving by Lind Road about once a week for the next like 7 weeks, 8 weeks, and you'll start seeing pretty significant changes there every week. Our progress was highlighted in the OCCMA newsletter as well. What we are doing is unique compared to others in the state, and so a lot of people are very interested. And in particular, the success we've had in once again getting additional funding. So we got the House Bill 4123, and then our partner Stepping Stones has brought funds, and they've been very successful getting churches and private donations and other dollars as well for the program. And we'll be applying for additional funding through House Bill 5019 by the end of this week as well. It's a very long set of technology advances there. Nancy did a very great job of telling you everything that we've been up to here for really the last year and the investments that we've made in technology throughout the city. It's quite robust and extensive, and there's still a lot of work to do. We're really kind of taking the city from sort of an analog manual process into the digital and I guess a nice set of tools and software systems that are going to help us perform this work. We've been investing both in technology and human resources as well, but being able to invest in these programs have been able to help us not have to hire as many staff because the work's been able the software systems have been able to help us out a lot. And then we continue our work with water stewardship. I sit on the Lower Umatilla Basin Groundwater Management Area Committee, which is regulated through ORS 468B.179. That work is kicked off again. That ORS requires that this work be reviewed every 10 years. And the legislature has appropriated dollars this biennium to go towards this project. They funded $6 million to help the county and their partner NAWA on the water recharge project, as well as several other $1 million on looking at, in particular, addressing the nitrate issue that's in the critical groundwater area. So that committee meets frequently. We have work to be done that we'll be turning in here before the end of the year. And then recently, last month, our 1.68 cubic feet per second, or CFS water right in the John Day pool, has now transferred. We now are the owners of the new water right in the John Day pool. That will serve our new industrial properties out there as early as next year. We have to begin using that water right in 2024 so that we can use that data and then submit that to the state to perfect that water and then certificate it as it's being used. So by 2025. So that water right is transferred on paper. Now we have 2 years to prove that it's actually transferred in use. It's being converted from an ag use to a municipal use, and there was no forfeiture in that transfer. So 1.68 came over, and 1.68 is going to be able to continue moving forward. We were able to successfully prove that there was no negative impact if it was transferred from ag use to municipal use.
And the POD is right here in the Umatilla.
So the POD is 2 actually. So the water right allows us to use the privately owned by Cleaver in partnership with West Extension on the Umatilla. That POD is accessible to us, as well as the new the updated POD that's partnership with Grimway, NAWA, and the county. Even though that's in the Columbia River, it's in the John Day. They're both in the John Day pool. That water right, at the time of transferring the water right, we asked for access with either POD, and both PODs were approved. So if we ever had to change where we drew that water from, we could pull from one of the right.
And so you can do either or if there's no.
Or a combination of both.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they approved both, which is great. And we have our lake tank, which is our temporary water system out in the Wanapa industrial park area that will be the contractors on site on Monday next week, and that will be constructed in 45 days, and we'll go into use beginning of September. That will begin our first use of our 23 CFS water right the Columbia River for industrial use.
And that tank, they're gonna start construction on that tank, they haven't built it yet, so, is that right?
They'll start construction on site. There's been a lot of off-site preparatory. It's not really prefab, but a lot of off-site prep work. And so, yeah, they'll be mobilizing on site on Monday. Site construction will begin towards the end of next week.
And how
And
many
they're gonna
guys,
be working like 16-hour days, to get that done in 45 days or less.
how many gallons tank?
It is a 2 million gallon tank.
Be able to see that on the ways off.
Yeah. That's my report.
What's the username for the TikTok? Because it's not popping up. Pardon me.
Yeah, the 5.2 and 5.3. Okay.
I was curious, though, I thought it was just a redundant. Cause I was looking at it, I go, I think it's just an extra, and it sounded like, I was wondering.
I uploaded it twice by mistake.
Okay.
I thought it was Nancy's fault.
That is my fault.
I mean.
Is there anything else you want to add to that? Okay, perfect. Moving on to public comments. Any public comment at this time? Thank you. Moving on to 7.1, the approval of the minutes. So we have written business of the evening. Any questions on the agenda? Or sorry, the minutes. I get a motion to approve previous minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve consent agenda item 7.1, approval of the June 6, 2023 minutes.
For, I get a second to that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. We have a public hearing? Okay. Moving on to new business, 9.1, local business rental.
So this was a record, grant application for the community development for both local business and the downtown revitalization grant. There was others that didn't make it because they just weren't ready at this time, but, since we opened it 4 times a year or every quarter, we've had more people interested in it, this summer to get projects done. Mr. Londo from, the 1300 Center building, consistently gets asked if he has a turnkey ready for, petition to rent out the space. They don't want to rent out the space and put the capital in the building that's not there. So we encouraged him to apply for, this grant to have a turnkey ready salon for the high demand we get at. So the total project cost for this, for 1 suite, converting 1 suite into a salon, is $12,500. Umatilla Speed Wash, Ms. Pin has been asked by all her patrons to get a higher capacity washer and dryer, just, you know, the process for people using the facilities. She has also asked for $32,326 to purchase a 90-pound washer and 2 45-pound stackable dryers. Java Junkies has requested their phase 2 to the construction of the Missionary Java Junkies. Java Junkies has exhausted with this. If the council does approve her grant, she will have exhausted her funds for the next 4 years, and she's applied for 2 consecutive. But this will finish out the project to construct Java Junkies in the staff and city managers, we all met and we would like to, for the council to motion towards, this grant process.
Wonderful work. Thank you. Council, any questions on these applications? I get a motion to approve or deny these applications.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve, item 9.1 on the local business grant awards as presented.
Thank you. I get a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you. Also,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Well, also me for the next, when the downtown revitalization grant, we received, 3 applications. Mr. Alani, who's also the president, would like, grant assistance for the landscaping, to the front of Sixth Street and Whistler. He was, he's doing some, flower beds and some plumbing, some irrigation for the flower beds. Universal NMC would like to redo the 4 buildings on Sixth Street, reroofing of the whole motel, sorry. And again, Mr. Londo with the 1300 Center building would like to paint, landscape, and re-roof, but the re-roof didn't make it to this, round. He's gonna do it in the following round in October. But for now, we would like, assistance with landscaping and painting of the building. He's gonna do landscaping on Sixth Street and also Whistler. And that being said, the department and city manager, we all met, and we, would like the council to, consider approving all 3 of these.
Will she be able to apply for the next round?
Mr. Yes,
Okay.
we actually maximized the return that he waited for the reroofing.
Got it, okay.
Any questions, council? The motion to approve or deny.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve new business item 9.2 downtown revitalization grant awards, as presented.
Thank you. I need a second, that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And if I may just say, we have a, participant here that, I think it's awesome that we are able to help our local business folks, to build and to grow here. And when we say, we want you to come to Utah, we want you to grow here, and we want you to be successful, we absolutely mean it, we stand behind it.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. Thank you for coming.
And we're now to 9.3, resolution 02/2024, resolution for contractor Nelson Construction Corp. The contract in the amount of $466,528 for the construction of the riverfront shared use project. And to delegate authority to the city of Rockville to sign all contract documents for amendments associated with this agreement. Any questions about that?
I have questions. Looking through the documents, when I appreciated being able to, peruse the bids. But I didn't see, any documentation as to the scope of work, where it's going, any of that. Is that because it's not set yet, or is it just not period? I mean, I would assume that if they're bidding it, that there's a site map of some kind. And
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, have we not brought the design plans here? I thought we had. Yeah, we can give you the general idea, but we can definitely get that to you. So, yes, we have 100% design plans that were part of the, bidding documents. This is the, recreational trails program grant, that was awarded to the city, about 2 years ago. And this will be the grant that takes you from Powerline Road, where the existing trail is now down to pedestrian bridge. But this will, instead of kind of giving you a bunch of those cutbacks like it is now on the way down, it's pretty steep. It runs a large sort of the arch of the D shape, I guess, down and around to the bridge, so that we meet the ADA requirements of grade and slope, excuse me, on that. So it has, it's both a wider trail, it has lighting on the trail, and it meets all of the specifications in our trails master plan guidelines for that, which again is width, slope, lighting, those sort of criteria. It also has a few benches along the way as well. I apologize, I thought that was something that we had brought to council before. We hadn't. I certainly can get that to you now. And send it to you so that you have a copy of it now, or if you'd like to pause on this award here, I'm happy to provide that to you, bring it to you next time.
So this is all South Hill.
It's all South Hill side, yes.
I don't know that I need to see it further. I just was curious, you know, that where we were talking about.
Sure. So to be clear, we don't have to pause, we're happy with it.
I don't need to pause. I'm going forward though, because I assume that there's going to be more sections of said trail
Absolutely.
elsewhere that we would know where those areas are and where they're going.
Yeah, absolutely. So this, again, kind of follows our Trails Master Plan, so as it makes that loop by, is that called River Park? Is that what it's actually?
River Park.
Yeah, down at the bottom there, where there's just the really old swing and really old slide. At that area there, it creates essentially a hammerhead down there in anticipation of the extension of that trail heading to the north or northwest. And then when it makes the turn off onto the bridge, on the other side of the bridge, our Nugent Park boat ramp, I'm sorry, on the other side, on the what is that, the east side of the trail, when you come over the pedestrian bridge projects has that trail expanding out like another 50 feet there as kind of the continuation of that, in anticipation of that trail continuing on as part of the overall Umatilla County River Trail project. And so, but yeah, absolutely, we'll do point well taken. We'll absolutely make sure that the copy of those plans are not only here available for you, but we'll make sure that they're updated on the project website as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was gonna, it is on the project website, guys.
Okay.
Does this one include like a crossing on Powerline Road as well, or is that gonna be,
What's that?
is this gonna include like something on Powerline Road, like a crossing, like some kind of?
No, not a crossing on Powerline Road for this scope of this project. When the Powerline Road transportation improvements occur in about 2 years from now,
Okay,
that'll include a widening of the canal crossing and will connect up to this trail.
okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, can we get on
Are we getting them out?
Yeah. You could one back. I don't know why they're just gonna do what they're like.
This is a big one.
Yeah, it's a- yeah.
Is that existing trail gonna be removed?
There it is.
Yeah, so it's not existing, to get up there, they will make, like what Dave said, to switch it back.
Yeah.
Or back and forth, and then it'll go kind of fall over the water.
Is the current one though gonna be torn out? Or just-
Yeah, so the existing would be demoed, it would pick up approximately where it comes off Powerline Road right now, and then instead of going down and over the ADA, it kind of follows the road and it goes around that part before bending back and coming back and meeting in, and it'll tie in right where the new bridge project leads off, so we should have a new continuous path from Powerline corner to the other side of the bridge.
Okay. So to be clear, the old trail's coming out.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I do have a question. Is it necessary for that to come out? And the only reason I ask is because if to me, it looks like it's farther to go around the ADA route than it would be just a downhill. So
It's true, it's already made one.
is it necessary to take it out? I guess is my question.
Whether to meet the master plan for.
Yeah, so is there some underlying requirement to pull it out? At that very base of the question, the answer to that is no. But our trail master plan and in our grant application to the state's recreational trail programming, we said that would come out because our trail master plan says that whenever possible, when we construct new trails, we'll build them to an ADA standard. And part of the way which we meet that standard is to discourage any use of any trail that would not meet that. So that's why we put in our application to pull the old one out. The other reason why it's coming out is that, so all of this area of the park is, that's not pointing very well, there we go. This is all city-owned area, this is all park, and this is all technically park here as well. Most of the area here to the east is, with the exception of the few annexations that we've done recently, is all urban growth boundary areas of the city. And all of these roads in here are definitely not gonna look like that when they eventually get annexed into the city. And so we still have some transportation planning that needs to be done here. And so we just don't know what, I mean, we could leave the trail as it is now. If we do have a problem, in particular here with some of these roads and these crossings, by doing this, you get the pedestrians out of the way of a lot of those pedestrian and vehicle interactions. And we've created a designated area here that's definitely lets drivers know that there's a crossing here where pedestrians are coming as part of that design. So not only does it meet the ADA requirement, also meets some of that vehicle pedestrian hazard requirement.
That's kind of my actual concern right now. If we remove that small one, I'm thinking the kids are gonna just start walking on the road because it's shorter. The old side road down Stevens Avenue, whatever it is. I'm thinking we should probably keep that one until the roads get resituated, maybe, you think?
Yeah, so
The one section is almost. From where the corner of that triangle is,
this area here,
no, along power line. From
oh,
there
this,
down.
yeah, that's gonna stay. But you're talking about this section?
Yeah, I'm talking about that section, because I think kids will get to that crosswalk and they'll just walk down the main road to the bridge. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it's.
They don't use the current path we have.
Okay,
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, that it's the same thing as we have down at, you know, the river park. We try to flood the.
is there any way we
Stowaway
can,
park.
okay, is there any way we could just keep that little zigzag until the roads do get redesigned and absorbed into the city proper?
We could,
Is that part of the bid for removal?
it is part of the removal. We can do an addendum to, remove the demo and removal of the old trail. We would need to make sure that the recreational trail program, wouldn't have an issue with that, because that wasn't our grant application. I think if our narrative to them was, we will still remove that section of trail, we're just not gonna do it today. It'll come out at the time when we update our whatever's gonna happen there with transportation improvements there is at the time when that would be updated. That might be sufficient for what they're looking for, but I don't know.
I agree with my fellow counselors that there's gonna be, even if you tear that out, there's gonna be a dirt path straight down that hill. That, you know, kids aren't gonna wanna go all the way around.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a trail, so just kind of wanted to.
So yeah, and demo work is one of the least expensive elements of the project. It doesn't take a lot of finesse or anything that we don't have. We don't have any major critical cultural resource associated with the demo work we do on some of the new areas of trail going in. There was a section in our along here, they found some historical garbage, some bottles from like the 30s and 40s and some other things that were going to be required to have some monitoring while we're out there. But the demo work didn't identify any monitoring requirements in that section of the project. So yeah, if it's the desire of the council, we could do two things. One would be to seek approval from the RTP, the Recreational Trail Program, to say that the trail will come out, just not today. It'll come out at the time of transportation improvement, and see if they're okay with that. And if we are okay with that, then we could do an amendment or addendum to the contractor to say, just leave the existing trail there and we'll install the new work.
Question for you, so if the transportation plan, this might be more of a random question, but would it require sidewalks to be part of that? If there was a transportation plan, would say, hey, you need to improve roads here, is it gonna have sidewalks?
At some point, if even the stuff were brought to the standard, yes, we would look at adding sidewalk.
Okay, so I'd say that we put the trail in as you said, we're gonna move the other one that at some point in time, there's gonna be sidewalks there anyway. And I kind of mean that if someone wants to walk that trail, they know they're walking an extra bit to take the trail anyway, to go get into some shades and trees. And then someday it's gonna have sidewalks, and we can say remove that trail for now. And if humans want to make their own trail, they already do it anyway. If you remove a trail, we did our job, but we make it our own. Kind of my thinking of that process. I think I say that we approve it as is. And we say we're gonna remove the existing trail, build a new one. Okay, now, but
I don't have a problem with that. I was just, you know, asking questions that look like it could potentially be a.
Well, a couple things on the horizon, just maybe this is it, just more information for you to consider before you make go. Is this section of Powerline Road will be improved within the next 3 years or less, 2 to 3 years. Brandon's making up face, but we already have a lot of the funding identified for it. We'll need to go more. But we're going to necessarily have to make, this will be what we're calling phase 1 of Powerline Road improvements. It's going to go from Dean to Tyler. And that section of Powerline Road is going to have to be built to a city standard. It's essentially going to be, I think it's 3 lanes, two travel lanes plus a middle merge lane and curb gutter sidewalk along that with some small shoulder. That's going to go quite literally right through this section, which is part of the scope of this project. Actually builds a retaining wall on the south side in anticipation of the expansion of that road, that future road coming through. So it's not going to be that much further in time where there's going to be sidewalks on Powerline Road we can take that and take you directly onto the trail, from the sidewalk onto the trail. But to your point, humans are inert creatures. They're going to take the path of least resistance and want to beeline straight down. Road trails are not only, we already have the cutbacks and people are already taking the road trails. I'm not so sure it's necessarily a plus or minus one way or the other. But anyway, I just want to let you know that there are some road improvements in the not too far distant future. Maybe it's 4 years out, but about 3 years from now, this section of road will be improved. We're trying to match up our timeline as close as we can to the intermediate school project. As buses and parents are coming down Powerline Road, we want to make sure that we have this section of road improved with curb gutter sidewalk, again, avoid pedestrian vehicle incidences and stuff like that. So we're trying to get our timeline as close as we can to that timeline.
okay, we get a motion to approve or not.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve new business item 9.3 resolution 02-2024 as presented.
Thank you, kind of second that motion.
Okay.
All in favor? All opposed? Moving on to 9.4 resolution 03-2023 or 2024, resolution dissolving the building revenue funds. Oh, sorry, reserve funds.
Well, Melissa, for that.
Yeah, thank you. So in 1990, the city established the Building Reserve Fund when they identified the desire to construct a new city hall. The construction obviously didn't occur until about 20 years after, so they knew that they were going to have to piece that funding together over time. The original resolution for that and subsequent resolutions all provided that that fund would be reviewed at least every 10 years to see if it was still needed. The last time that it was reserved or reviewed, it was clear that the city intended on paying off the loan for the building early, which we did this previous spring. And if you remember, during the budget process, we actually did the pre-work to this resolution where we budgeted for the transfer of the remaining funds back to the general fund as outlined in that original resolution that formed the fund. So basically, it's just accounting cleanup of a fund that's no longer in use.
Thank you. Any questions about the cleanup?
I just think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Another box check.
Okay, on the motion to approve.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 9.4 resolution 03-2024.
Any second on that motion?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that's how it. Moving on to 9.5, our agenda addition today, asking to move the meeting for August 1st. Then a competing event of police.
Yeah, so on August 1st, we have our National Night Out, celebration of our public service officers, our police officers. And we'll be hosting an event here at Village Square Park and inviting the public to come and have some fun with us, have some food, and celebrate policing. And that event runs from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It typically starts to die down, dissipate a little bit towards 8 o'clock, but at 7 o'clock, it's kind of right in the middle of it. And what we'd like to do is encourage council to come here at 7 as normal, come out to the event and shake hands and kiss babies and welcome and tell people thank you. And then hopefully come on over here at 7:30. That's what we're hoping to be able to do. So staff will do our best to try to keep the agenda approximately 30 minutes lighter. We can afford to move an item to the workshop on the 15th. That way we can keep things flowing and keep you on a normal schedule. But that would be a great way to come and support the National Night Out and then while we're there, we can encourage people to just maybe come to a city council meeting if they haven't had a chance to come by. Also,
Good crowd that night.
Fantastic. Anything else to add? Yeah, we're looking for a motion to approve that to 7:30.
I'd like to make a motion to approve new business 9.5 to move it to 7:30 on August 1st.
Perfect. Thank you. I have a second that one.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We'll have it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
before you move on, I would just like to point out the pretty cool array of light you have.
Yeah.
It's debating, and I just wanted to point out before Scott, it was actually much more pronounced earlier.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, this.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, it happened, it was kind of a neat, phenomenon that was happening, and I just want to point it out.
It's all Project Bluebeam.
All right, any public comment at this time? Perfect. Okay, any discussion items tonight? Go to the mayor's message. I want to say congratulations to members of the audience tonight. I think it's a pretty great application and congratulations on getting approved and having their businesses. So, can I say a comment? Of course. Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Jose and my business name is Alanza Rodito. We started our journey with you guys in 2014. And I've been watching all our process with my business and with you guys, and it's been getting better and better. I feel really like, how can I say, like I feel very happy with you guys because I remember like an old time ago, that was hard with the city. You know, like I was like, for example, like I was afraid to come here. Now I feel really good, and I feel like the city is to help us. You know, that's like a better. And I just want to say thank you for all the effort you guys do because you guys take your own time for your family and do something for. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
It takes business like you to help us.
Yeah, definitely.
That we do all the light work, the staff here does all the hard work. So
Yeah.
you gotta get that.
We're here to look pretty.
Yeah, and that's all I have to go to after Mary's message. Looking forward to night out. That's gonna be fun. Anything else? I think I'm good. I think we'll go ahead and start with Councilmember Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, had a couple of different discussions with some folks that really wanted to come down tonight, but just it's hard to get people here to turn the microphone. Anyway, they asked me in their absence to ask if there was a possibility to expand the bandwidth for the internet at the RV park and marina. What happens is, say, weekends when the park's full, it's pretty tough to make anything happen. Weekdays, you know, when there's not very many people there, not a problem at all. One of the fellow voters actually has it, and I'm, you know, technically, yeah, my understanding of technology is very, very limited, but he has some kind of a device that's on his boat that he's actually hitting the signal and then running it down underneath the roof. And it actually gets clear to the end of the dock. But, and we cannot do that without something like that, you know, directing that signal down through the, underneath the roof. But, in the evening, especially on weekends when the park's full, you know, you can't get anything done. Anyhow, the question was, you know, is it possible to expand the bandwidth? I assume I'm using the right term there for getting more capacity out of the internet supply down there.
I'll let Nancy fill in my blanks. As far as bandwidth goes, we actually have great bandwidth down there. We have up to 1 gigabit per second boost out there. So it's not likely a bandwidth issue. It's just it's a broadcast issue. So what you're talking about is we just need to we need to place another repeater probably at the first slip of each of those docks to send it down. Because you're right, it's what's happening at those docks in that route and where our device is broadcasting its signal, just can't get through that. So if we place another repeater and put it down the lane, that would probably get us what we need, but we need to do that in consultation with Hermiston IT and find out. We do have some budget this year to continue to expand. Yes, we do. We have budget this year to continue to expand out there at the marina. We've got a $5,000 line item in there.
Gone.
It's gone. Nancy's got earmarks of what she wants to do out there. But to her point, we'll take a look at everything we have already scheduled and planned down there and take a look and see what needs done. We do have the broadband for it, just a matter of see what our broadcast is.
One of the other comments that was made, and I understand this is a unique situation, but during landing days, vendors couldn't use their credit card devices because they couldn't get enough information to their devices in order to make it work. And so they actually had to turn away credit card sales, because they couldn't get their point of sale units to function.
Yeah, Wi-Fi has never been available during landing days. It's come at your own risk. We have a lot of broadband down there, up to 1 gigabit. First, the problem is there's no access point, and we run into permitting issues because they would have to trench to get fiber installed further down. So what we've done is we've put access points at the gas field dock. And that's the only other place we've done it. We did install imaging down at the dock area on the other dock. It's just that.
Yeah, so without the ability to go subterranean because of our limitations of our lease and permit, we have to do line of sight, which is normally not an issue, but with a lot of trees, and we do have some elevation issues there in the park, especially because all of our hub is at the campground office. And so which is above everything else. We're trying to point downward through canopies of trees and other kinds of stuff. That isn't to say that we can't take a look at it again and look at, like, we have Boyd's Place, which also has which is lower and could potentially have a better line of sight either to like the fish fanning station where we have power, or we could put another access point there that could then broadcast out. It's a possibility. And down at the marina, what you're getting is actually going from the office goes to the bathroom in the campground, and then from the office also goes to the bathroom down in the marina, and that's where we have power. And so from there we can broadcast out. So if you're further down, like on E dock, your signal is significantly weaker than if you're on B and C dock. And so it all just comes down to where we have power available and where we can hang that access point, connect with power. So we can, yes, we have a lot in the budget, but we do actually have some budget, not a lot. I don't know if it's enough to see what we can expect.
Well, I said that I would mention it in their absence, so I did what I said I would do.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And then, do we know what's burning?
I saw that.
It was in Hermiston, we were in Hermiston, and it's along that walking trail, kind of like by the hospital. It was back in that area.
it looked like it started, late afternoon, but I was kind of surprised that it was still burning.
But they have a plan going west. But whenever there's notifications about it.
Well, I know that I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again, I just encourage people to keep their weeds and things cleaned up as this fire season, and boy, don't take long, because it'll be away and cause problems, and just want to encourage people to, clean up their weeds. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the great job you guys do.
How in the world you guys get a gigabyte internet? That's phenomenal. No. I want to say thank you, congratulations, and thank you for being part of the community, business in the community. And I hope to see you guys grow and expand over the course of the, your next years. And I hope Umatilla treats you good. And then all the other good thing I got to say is happy birthday, bro.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And that's all I got.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hope it's a good one, buddy.
Yes, I didn't want that.
Right.
It's my last one before I turn 60.
Really?
Yeah.
You were gonna
I'm glad there's more words after the last one.
I know.
Just not doing them anymore. Like, no more.
Yeah. I just have to say, I always enjoy these meetings because I love seeing that the things that we've put in place in the city is really benefiting our businesses. And so it's always fun to see the businesses that are applying for these awards and then the ways that we're going to be able to impact them. So I know that this was obviously a collaborative thing, but I just thank you guys for being willing to present that to us as like, let's invest more into our businesses and council. I'm just so thankful that we said yes to it because I feel like it's been a huge benefit to our business owners. And I feel like the more that we continue to make our city look better and we have these events coming into our city, it's going to flourish these small businesses even more. And I hope that just continues to attract more of the businesses here. And also with the manager's report, I love seeing all the events that are going on. I actually had a mom that lives in Hermiston recently tell me, like, we were talking about different activities to do this summer. And she's like, Umatilla Library is so good. They have all these different things. And like, I knew it, but it was really great to hear someone in a different city going like, I don't even go to this one. Like, you don't even. But they're like, I always go to Umatilla because there's so much fun. My kids always have something to do. And it was really encouraging to see that our library is thriving. I know that we've had a lot of collaborative, what are we going to do with that over the years too? So that's been a huge enjoyment to see grow. And yeah, I think there's everything I want to say. So thank you.
I'm going to kind of build off a little bit what she said about people from other areas talking about Umatilla. I think texted Dave about, I was listening to the radio, Tri-Cities radio station after landing days, and they were talking about how awesome landing days was in Umatilla. And then he mentioned, then again, everything that Umatilla does is awesome. And so for Tri-Cities radio station to put it out there like that, I thought it was pretty cool. So, and it's all because you guys are hard work and it was really awesome this year. So, and then I do like seeing all the grants and the different businesses and everything this is affecting. Wait for this job to open the area. Just walk there on my break. But so I just appreciate it. I appreciate the pictures in your report, Chief, or I don't know who put it in there, but I like it. Nice putting the faces, the names and faces together. But then, you know, we read through so much. It's just kind of nice having a pop of color, something a little fun there every once in a while. So we appreciate it more than you know. So thank you.
I have to comment on one news that was just fabulous and I enjoyed it. It heard such great things in the community about it and I just, it's getting better and better every year. It's really making, you know, I mean, it was doing well before COVID and now it's like back on it's just better and better each time. So I appreciate all your hard work that gets done for that because I know the volunteers are hard to come by, it seems like. So I appreciate that and reaching out and that is pretty much it. I think just right. Thank you for all your work.
Okay, so unfortunately, some unfortunate others, we have an executive session tonight. So we do have to clear the room. City council will now meet in executive session for the purpose of considering real property transactions with current litigation or litigation likely to be filed, the executive session is held pursuant to RS 192-66028, with authorizing the city council to consult with its council concerning legal rights and duties of its public body concerning current litigation or litigation likely to be filed, RS 192.66028, which authorizing the executive session to be considered a real property transaction. Meeting members must be excluded if the member is a party of the litigation, meeting representatives, department heads, city manager Stockdale. You can attend the executive session. All members of the audience are asked to leave the room at this time. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report any deliberations during executive session, except to state the general subject of this session as previously announced. No decision will be made in this executive session, as any executive session will return to open session and will be back in the room. Council at this time, your motion to go into executive session.
I'd like to make a motion with the regular session and enter executive session.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We now have executive session.